Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts. And I'm excited to kick off Season 2 of our podcast series in partnership with Rappahannock Electric Cooperative. It's called We Are REC. Every week we'll release a new episode talking to different people from REC about a host of different topics. We'll get tips for saving money on your electric bill. We'll talk about renewable energy and the impact it can have in our communities. We'll get some behind-the-scenes info about what happens when the power goes out in a storm. Don't miss out on information about community grants, scholarships, REC-hosted events, and more. Get every single episode on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or on Spotify. Just do a quick search for We Are REC. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is The Valley Business Today, Clarke County edition. So I was going to say an old friend, but I don't want her to get upset with me. So a dear friend and a familiar voice to all of my listeners is on the Zoom screen with me today. We are, of course, pre-recording the show. She is the Interim Director of Economic Development and Tourism for Clarke County. We're going to talk about both of those topics. Felicia Hart, thank you for spending some time with me today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, as always, for having me. I appreciate that. It's been a while.
And I am so glad that you landed locally. I'm still not overly thrilled with that interim title, but if I got to call somebody, you let me know, and I will call whoever I need to call to make that a more permanent title.
Okay. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative that you're going to call them. Okay.
Yeah, that may not help you at all. So let's talk business in Clarke County. How are things going in phase 2? What kind of impact has the pandemic had on Clarke County and businesses there?
Well, while it's made a lot of our small town businesses, especially those here on Main Street, it's made them definitely work harder, but they've shown that they can do that. They're getting through this. They've had to pivot and make a number of different changes to the way that they function. The restaurants, definitely the curbside pickup delivery kind of thing was a transition for a lot of them because they just didn't have that service previously. So trying to make ends meet, learning the hard way in a condensed timeline. They're still, there's no doubt about it from a restaurant perspective, as their numbers are normally so tight anyway, the margins. But they've been able to work and pull that off. Many have gone after the PPP funds and the EIDL loans through the federal government. So that's been good for them. They're working with the local bank here to make sure that they're doing things correctly, properly. We want to make sure it's not just a Band-Aid, that they can really get through this, that there is a long-term business plan here so that they can come out on the other end stronger than what they were.
Well, and I think you're right about the pivot perspective. I've seen that across communities up and down the Shenandoah Valley. And last week on Friday, or actually last week in total, on Monday, I bookended Clarke County on the show. Monday was Nathan Stalvey with the Clarke County Historical Association talking about what they implemented during phase 1 and phase 2 and how much of that they're going to keep and what they're looking at to reopen, like the mill and those kinds of places. Yep. On Friday, I had Mary Kay and Turner Kobayashi from the Clarke County Farmers Market on the show. And then I went to the Farmers Market this past Saturday.
Oh, I missed you then. Okay.
It was packed in a good way. Everybody had masks on. The booths and the spaces were socially distant. Everybody was friendly. It really made me feel good to see people out supporting the local farmers and local businesses in Clarke County.
And that's definitely, we've been seeing that even with this. I mean, whether it's a front porch pickup or front porch delivery, people, until this farmer's market moved to the new location, they were working out of Audley Farm. So there will be 30, 40 cars in line waiting to get through this. So people have come to rely on these farmers markets. They trust, they know they're getting a quality product, so they can order this online and know that they're going to be happy with what they get. The farmers market, again, another one of these where these guys have to hustle and do whatever they can, but we're starting to see them partner with each other, and it's not just one farmer. They're now putting baskets together. They're making deals and doing this kind of thing. So and being able to finally, like you said, move to this new area that they're at. And I think I think one of the things we still miss is a hug. We still miss a hug, and being able to say, oh, I haven't seen you in forever. So, hopefully we can get to that point, but it's just people need to talk to each other. They want to talk to each other. They want to help each other out. No matter how big or small the community is, people want to be there for each other.
And I think right now the overarching theme is safety. I mean, they want to do business and they want to be able to sustain their business, but they want to make sure they're doing it in a safe way. And you guys have this new Open and Safe NSV pledge. Tell me what that is.
Well, and I'm really proud to be able to partner. This is a relationship. We work regionally, so it's the Winchester, Sean Hirschberger at the Winchester City EDA, Patrick Barker with Frederick County EDA. We work with Christine Kritz from the Lord Fairfax Small Business Development Center. We're working with Cynthia at the top of Virginia Chamber, and we're working obviously with Justin Kearns with the Winchester Frederick County Tourism. And we meet, we talk every week. We have a regular scheduled program to find out what's working, what's not, what do we need to do regionally, where are we getting the money from, that kind of thing. And this was something we had seen something similar to this in Savannah. And I called the gentleman there, Mr. Hubbard, the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce. This is something they had done. He was so receptive to what we were trying to do. He completely understood it. He said, use whatever you need. We came up with our own logo and some other stuff, but we used their basic guidelines because it's working. We didn't have to reinvent the wheel, and we're again very appreciative of that. But the Open and Safe, the Northern Shenandoah Valley Pledge, is a reason to help. It brings the businesses together. We wanted to have a common message, a common look for all of these businesses to reassure not only their customers, the community, their employees, that they took and are taking this serious. They're following the CDC guidelines. They're following the recommendations from the Virginia Department of Health. Setting those expectations early for their customers is what customers are looking for. They want to be reassured. I was taking a part of a webinar the other day, and 74% have said that they are doing their research online to see how that business is operating. How are you cleaning? What are your expectations of me? Do I need to register ahead of time for a specific, because even the farmers market, the pick your own fruit, because they had time slots for people to be able to come in and do that. So this program, again, we're really proud of this. And the website is openandsafeNSV.biz. And the word "and" is spelled out. openandsafeNSV.biz. It's free. Go in there, sign up your business. If you want to apply add your business logo, that's great. Once you've completed the pledge, then you'll be entitled to all of the, we've got printed posters that you can get, that you can print out for your size, whatever you need. All of the logos for your social media piece. And we want this to be a unified voice. We want this to show that we're all in this together, and here's what we're promising to do. So we're excited about this.
I know I do a Marketing Matters Facebook Live with Nikki from the Front Royal Chamber on Thursday afternoons at 1:30. And this past Thursday was about your safety message, how to balance your welcome back message with your safety precautions. And one of the questions that we got was from a business owner who said, I'm just not that creative and I'm not really sure what to say. this kind of thing really does check that box because
Yes.
it makes you part of a larger picture, which then adds to the credibility of the individual business.
There you go. And we've got people who will stop here in Clarke County, they'll go on to Winchester. So they're seeing this collective voice. They understand we are all in this together. It's doing exactly what you say it is. It's reassuring them. It's taking those restaurants, those business owners have too much else to have to worry about. They're not marketing people. Let us take that off your plate for you. This is how we can help you. It can be this simple. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still work they have to do because you need to make sure their website is current. They need to make sure these logos are out there. They need to make sure that they're providing that correct and current information. So don't let me down there, folks.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that was the other piece of part of that conversation that I had with her last week was being able to manage your personal opinions on your different social media outlooks and marry them with your business professional opinion to make sure that people were seeing that unified message. Because if you personally had a different viewpoint, then some people weren't going to be so trusting of what your business page was posting. And you really do have to look at that big picture and make sure all of those things align to solidify that relationship and that trust factor with your customers.
Absolutely. Too many people take that for granted. They don't think those dots will ever connect. And are they surprised when they do?
Yeah, I gave a specific example of a friend who had seen something that someone had posted on their personal page and then the exact opposite on their business page. And they were like, I don't believe a word that they are saying because I've seen these other things. Right. This also helps that because it is a unified message.
Correct. And people see that. I think they believe in it. We want people to take this seriously. I mean, they're signing up to take this pledge. So it's not just give me your poster, I'll put one up in the window. You need to think about what you're doing here. You're guaranteeing that you're going to do this. So
yeah, there's a commitment level to it that I think
there
makes
really
it be more successful in the long run.
Most definitely. So we're excited about that.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, can we flip the card a little bit and talk about tourism and how tourism looks right now in Clarke County?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay, we're going to do all of that when we come back. We are sharing a Zoom screen today with Felicia Hart. She is the Interim Director of Economic Development and Tourism for Clarke County. We'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll talk a little bit on the tourism side of things over in Clarke. I am Janet Michael, and you are listening to The Valley Today. Expecting to hear a commercial? That's what this is, sorta. First, I want to thank you for listening to the Valley Today podcast. You're one of thousands who listen to the show this way every month. Sometimes it's because our listeners are busy and they want to listen when it fits their schedule, or it's a guest of the show who want to hear what they sounded like when they were on the radio. We even have a few binge listeners who listen to a week's worth at a time. Can you even imagine? So if you want those people, your potential customers, to hear your message, then this could have been your ad. And the bonus, your commercial isn't restricted to just 30 or 60 seconds. You can take up to 2 minutes to talk to those customers. And there's even the opportunity to be an exclusive sponsor of the Valley Today podcast, which also gets you on-air mentions at the end of every show. If any of this sounds interesting to you, give me a call at the station, 540-635-4121, or send me an email to janet@theriver953.com. You can also find all my contact info by searching for me on theriver953.com. Welcome back to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is the Valley Business Today Clarke County edition, and we are getting a twofer of sorts from Director of Economic Development and Tourism for Clarke County. I know, right? Is Felicia Hart. She's joining me on a Zoom screen as we pre-record today's show. And in the first segment, we talked a little bit, actually a lot a bit, about business in Clarke County and phase 2, about the open and safe NSV pledge. If you missed any of that, you can head over to theriver953.com, click the Valley Today banner on the front page, or just click the podcast tab. And that show, today's show, as you were listening to it, is already up on our website, so you can catch up what you may have missed in the first segment. But in the second segment, Felicia, I want to turn the tables a little bit and talk about tourism tourism, because it is still a business, but how has tourism been impacted in Clarke County by COVID-19?
Well, tourism across the entire U.S., the hospitality industry has taken a big hit, the tourism side of things. So they're working hard to climb back out of that hole. But I think, as we talked earlier, setting the expectations for those tourists, helping to meet their what their needs are, what do they want to be able to do, getting that information out there. That's something we're working on right now, and looking at the federal CARES funds and there's so much grant money out there now, and just trying to figure out what you can do with it correctly. So, being able to take advantage of some of those, the pots of money that are out there, and are there for the right reasons. Don't get me wrong, they're there for the right reasons. But here in Clarke County, we're seeing the comeback. We're seeing the folks from DC, Northern Virginia, that are coming up here, staying at our B&Bs, coming into the bigger restaurants that we have. So we're seeing the out-of-state tags come through now. People I think they're slow to still put their toe in the water. They still want to test. We looked at, from a tourism standpoint, AirBnBs are up. People want to get in their own little private space that they feel secure and they can clean and do what they need to do. RVs rentals are up. They can control that situation.
Yeah, I watch those TV shows, and some of those are really nice, but I'm sorry, an RV is not for me.
Well, I know, but I don't know if they come complete with a driving class or not, but pulling into a gas station is not going to be that easy. But and we're talking with people, just as we talked about earlier about missing a hug. One of the top reasons they want to get out is to see friends and family, especially the family. They've had family that may have been in a nursing home that they couldn't have access to for 3 months. So they want to get out and see that. They need to be able to catch their breath and just be reassured we can get back to a kind of normal that we knew. So we're seeing that, and we're excited about that. Our local B&B, the AirBnBs, the local B&Bs are working really hard. I've talked to a number of them, making sure that they see where all the guidelines are. Going into, from the governor's standpoint, putting us into phase 2 and then going into phase 3, understanding that transition and what they have to do. Because it's new for everybody, and making sure we're all reading it and understanding it the same way. So we've spent a lot of quality time with our local businesses, helping them understand what they need to do, and tie that kind of thing in together. As I mentioned, the farmers markets have done really well. We're getting a lot of people, the pick your own, the fruit market that we have here, we're getting a lot of people not from this area that are coming up, because that's quality family time that they can do. They can get outside. So those are I think, getting people back to their roots, getting back to the basics, which we have been our lives have just been all over the place. And we forget that a lot of times. And, it's like when the electricity goes off, and now you're sitting in the dark and you got to go, oh, where's the candles? And then you can actually catch yourself, your breath, and you can just go, oh my gosh, remember when?
Yeah.
It forces you, we need those times to, things to force us to slow down and appreciate what we've got.
Well, and you make a good point. A couple of weeks ago, I had, for a Valley Business Today with the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber, Cynthia brought Celeste on from L'Auberge.
Oh, yes.
And who is lovely, by the way. I absolutely think she is fantastic. But we were talking a little bit about the inn part of L'Auberge.
Yes.
And she really was singing the praises of what she was seeing, which is people think smaller is safer, because they trust that she has the staff to do a complete cleaning and sanitizing in between stays that maybe they're just not that comfortable with from a big hotel chain at this point in the game.
Correct. Yeah, and again, it's all about controlling my surroundings, controlling the situation, understanding what I can control and what I can't. So,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's important for the businesses on their end to make sure that they are communicating. Like you were saying earlier with the pledge, is saying, look, this is what we're doing. That's an important of a message of what you're doing to keep visitors safe as in normal times, so to speak. Hey, come to our event and all these cool things are going to be here for you to do. You just need to swap one for the other now.
There you go. You're exactly right. From a marketing standpoint, most definitely. People, what are your hours and how are you cleaning?
And do I have to come inside or will you bring it to my car?
There you go. Can I blow the horn once or twice?
And I really hope that a lot of that stays, partly because I have noticed that personally, I have become very lazy in the last 3 months. And now that I realize what my options are for not getting out of my car or frankly, leaving my house, I am really hoping that a lot of these places continue to do all of this curbside and everything else.
Well, and just like last weekend, though, I hope you remember how much fun you can have when you do get out and go to the farmer's market and experience that again,
Oh yeah, it was one of those things where, and I don't think you really either truly appreciate it, like you were saying, is taking that break and then coming back to basics. Because I've been to the farmer's market dozens and dozens of times. I've long since said that the Clarke County Farmer's Market is, I think, the best one that we have in the Shenandoah Valley, and I go all the time.
Thank you.
But having not been anywhere, frankly, not even to Walmart for months now, it really was like this great, escape to be able to just go and walk, and they had music playing. It was a whole experience in and of itself.
Yes. Yeah. It's those, again, what do we take for granted?
So from the Office of Economic Development and Tourism, you have a lot of resources and encourage businesses in and around Clarke County and the town of Berryville too, to reach out to you with questions or help or suggestions. That's part of what you provide in that position, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My door is always open. My phone is always on. So making sure that they understand, one, that I'm here, what I can do to help them. Understanding there's some obligations obviously on their part that they have to man up and be willing to work for it too. This is a two-way street. We have to, understanding that their reputation is the brand for the town or the county. So, when they're not at their best, and that's what people see, we need to make sure they understand that we can't afford to have bad days, and we all do, but you've got to hide that stuff behind the curtain. Yeah. But I'm here as a resource, help them understand, because as I mentioned, I talked to a number of the businesses here on Main Street, and if they hadn't applied for the PPP funds, then setting those meetings up with the local bank. Here's what you need to do to go in and get this. Understanding the obligations that they had there. The resources between what the state has to offer. There's so much information that is out there. And as a small business owner, I understand these guys don't have time to do the research. They've got a list of what they would love to be able to do. Where do they see themselves in 5 years? Do they need to put together a phase 2 business plan? What do they need to do? One of our local farmers here, he spent a lot of money, perfect timing, on his online image and being able to put the store online, doing all of that work, perfect timing, because here we are. But he really wants to expand. So from an ag perspective, what can he do? Understanding the planning and zoning, because I'm best buds now with planning and zoning. So, understanding who do we want to be, how as a community do we want to help these business owners be better business owners? I think we've got a lot of people here who care and want to make a difference. We just need to all come together, sit at the table and say, how do we get there?
So speaking of coming together and sitting at the table, this is a pun on so many levels. You've got a restaurant virtual town hall that's coming up. Let's see, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. People are listening to it right now on Wednesday. We'll be done by 1 o'clock. This literally starts at 1:30 today as people are listening to it.
Yes. And it is a restaurant virtual town hall. Talking with Celeste at LaBerge several weeks ago, she was mentioned that she'd been talking to other chefs and restaurant owners and that kind of stuff. And the questions that she was having to go to this phase 2, she's not alone in this. And I think they want to be reassured that I'm not alone in this. And, what are other restaurants? What's the supply chain issue? What's the long-term ramifications on this? Because, everybody was now suddenly boxing all of their meals to go. Well, what does that presentation look like? So depending on how much you spend on that takeout as to what the box is going to look like. So, if one restaurant needs 1,000 boxes, another one needs 1,000, could they all work together to get a better price? And just the updates from the health department, updates from the economic development perspective, and certainly working with Christine there at Lord Fairfax to put together a game plan. I appreciate it. I made this offer and suggestion to Christine, and she took it and run with it. So I really see this as an opportunity for these restaurant and supply chains. So I think she's got Cisco and maybe Skanks from Winchester. I think there was some other folks that were going to be on there. So to try and understand and make the point clear, we're all in this together. Let's make it work.
I will have the link. Again, today's show, as you were listening to it, is already up on the station's website. So you can go to theriver953.com, click the podcast tab, choose the Valley Today, and I will have the link where people can go to register for that restaurant virtual town hall there. So even while they're listening on the radio, they could pull out their phone and go ahead and click and register for that. So
you are good at this.
Hey, this is the perk of pre-recording, is I can get stuff done ahead of time, and then I get to just sit and listen to the show when it plays live. Not that I ever do that, because I have the worst voice ever and do not want to hear myself back again. So that's a whole nother situation. But Felicia, thank you for taking some time today to have this conversation with me. I am so excited that we're going to be able to continue our relationship on the radio. And again, I'm going to call whoever I need to call to make sure that interim tag goes away.
As always, thank you, my friend. You always make this such a great, it's so much fun to be able to participate and do this.
So as you were listening to the show today on Wednesday, tomorrow's show is actually going to be another fun conversation. I have already recorded it with Mark Nance. He is the new president and CEO of Valley Health. He is fantastic. So you are definitely going to want to meet me back here tomorrow a few minutes after noon to hear that conversation. He's got a lot of really cool ideas and is very much about the people. He's already moved here. He and his wife have already bought a house and settled. So have a listen tomorrow a few minutes after noon to that show with Mark Nance. He's the new president and CEO of Valley Health. It's part of our community health partnership. And I will hear you or listen to you. I'll meet you back here tomorrow at noon. We'll figure it out then.